Hi, this is Barbie and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a layout using the Trusty tools, stamps, and dies. These are great for masculine cards as well as all kinds of layouts. I'm also going to be using the Thanks and Beyond dies that were an add-on item for the Paper Pumpkin card kit. I'm going to use that little frame there to die cut out my title, Demolition Time, and then I will hand cut that additional supporting title, Home Improvement Project Number, question marks. I'm going to take some sandpaper and distress the edges of my cocoa cardstock. And it's easier to do this if you have something firm to hold the cardstock against. So I've just brought in an extra sanding block to do that. And I'm going to distress all the edges of my different pieces of cocoa cardstock. So I have a tag and I have another frame. I've taken a 12 by 12 piece of desert sand cardstock and gutted out the inside to be able to use that for something else and also cut down on weight. I have a 3/4 inch frame going around the edge. I've also taken the cocoa cardstock, cut it down to 11.5 and gutted it as well, continuing with that 3/4 inch frame. I will go ahead and attach that cocoa frame onto the desert sand cardstock with some liquid glue. I like using the Tombow liquid glue because it gives me some time to manipulate the paper around before it permanently adheres. Doesn't that sanding look good on that cocoa? It just really adds something to it, gives a little bit of dimension there, and just is going to help with the rustic feel that I'm going for on this page. So I'm just trying to make sure I get it all thoroughly lined up before I press it in place. And then we will continue on, and I'm going to bring in a piece of champagne cardstock that I've drawn some lines on with a pencil just to add a little bit more dimension. I didn't want too much. I have some of the Stampin' Up Country Woods texture papers, designer series papers, as well as some cardstock from the neutral set. This color here is Misty Moonlight, and I've cut those pieces 3¼ by 4¼ to line up with my 3x4 photos. So let's set those aside. In addition to the Country Woods papers from Stampin' Up, I'm also using the Neutrals cardstock, and I've cut that piece there with the die from the Enduring Beauty and then cut it in half so that I've got two pieces. That die that I cut my saying from, I cut again in the cocoa and cut it down to just use a little bit on each end to just kind of help frame that title. I've cut some 5/8 inch by 3.5 and 3-inch pieces of the Night of Navy and used my corner rounder to corner round all 4 edges. Now I'm going to mark the center of my page here so that I can go ahead and line up that cocoa cardstock going down the center. So I'm just going to bring it in, and I'm just deciding whether or not I want the center of that strip on the line or do I want the right-hand edge. And I end up going with, let's line up the right-hand edge with the center of the page. That way it just looks better for me. I'm going to bring in those pieces of designer series paper in the Country Woods as well as one of my photos so I can just see how things are lining up. It's good to always plan things out before you start adhering. So I figured out that that's going to work, so I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid glue on that strip of cardstock there. And we'll go ahead and get that attached. Now these photos were taken when we tore down our deck in 2019. It was probably close to 30 years old at the time. I'm going to use my ruler just to make sure that that line is straight. Need to fudge it over just a hair. So when we were demolishing the deck, we leaned against one of the uprights, which was a telephone pole. We thought, surely we won't need to replace those because telephone poles last forever. Well, that pole started to fall over. So we ended up having to tear out all the uprights in addition to the deck. It was quite an undertaking that took us the entire summer to do because we just did it, myself and my husband, other than one day in which a couple of our younger friends came over and helped with the demoing. But when you do things like that, you're really proud of it. So I'm taking this 1/4-inch strip of that desert sand cardstock that I did my outer frame with and putting it down the center. And now we'll go ahead and get those other pieces in place. Now when you cut your paper, when it's got a wood grain like this, you want to make sure that however you're going to lay them, that all the wood grain is going the same direction. When I first cut these two pieces, I did not pay attention and I cut them both the same way, like the one on the right. So then when I rotated that piece to be vertical, my lines were going horizontally. So pay attention. Don't try to take the shortcut. So now I'm going to play with these Night of Navy strips and see where I want them. That one on the right, I'm going to end up cutting down and just butting it up against that darker cardstock. And then the piece that I cut off from it, I'm going to end up using down by that tag, which you'll see when I show you more completed. I'm going to play with some of those flags, deciding where I want them. Flags are a great way to go ahead and do some embellishing and use up your scraps because we all end up with scrap pieces, don't we? So now I'm going to take those other two pieces that I cut with the die cut and then cut in half and decide where I want to place those. That one I'm playing with right now, I'm going to end up printing the date that we started this demolition, which was May 12th, 2019. Let's go ahead and let's put a flag up here too as well. I think we should overlap it over the wood grain. And then we'll pull the other piece in from the die cut. I really like the simplicity of this layout. I don't have a lot of stamping on it. I don't have a lot of anything to distract from it. You want your focus to be on your pictures. They are what's important. Everything else is to enhance or help tell the story. So I've gone ahead and already put a couple of the hammers on that I cut out using the dies. I used the wood grain Country Woods as well as the lighter gray from the Neutrals cardstock. And so I have 3 hammers on there. I have my title. I added in some twine there, and you can see that little blue strip as well. I hope you've enjoyed this layout, and please like, subscribe, and share my page. You have a very blessed day.